I'd like to call this session to order. Today is the fourth day, second regular session. It is Monday, November 15, 2021 at approximately 2:12. And my apologies. Again, fourth day, second regular session, Monday, November 15, 2021 at 2:12 p.m. here in the House Chamber, the seat of my legislature. And before we move on to the roll call, I'd like for everyone to rise for a moment of silent prayer. And please keep all those individuals that are affected by the coronavirus in your prayers. Thank you very much. And with that, I'd like to recognize, or before that, I want to also acknowledge our legislative bureau staff that will be with us today. Of course, our clerk, our delegation clerk, Joan Kaipat, our legal counsel, John B. Layden, also our sergeant at arms, Ben Terlahi, and Pedro Tuay, and also Mr. Jonathan Diaz will be handling our media and computer systems for today's session. So with that, clerk, I recognize you to call the roll for attendance.
Representative Adda,
Present.
Representative Fakta,
Present.
Representative Babalta Selina,
Present.
Representative Babalta Sheila, Representative Kamatsu Joel,
Present.
Representative Kamatsu Vicente, Senator De Leon Guerrero,
Present.
Representative Demapan,
Stiga.
Representative Flores,
Present.
Representative Guerrero,
Stiga.
Representative Lizama,
Present.
Representative Magofnia,
Present.
Representative Probst,
Present.
Senator Kirgua, Representative Sablan Cristina, Representative Sablan Jampo,
Stiga.
Senator Sablan Vini,
Gaga.
Representative Staffler,
Present.
Representative Villa Gomez,
Present.
Representative Yang Tamai,
Yang
Representative Yumu,
Daga.
Mr. Chairman, 17 members present, 4 members absent.
Thank you, clerk. With 17 members present and 4 members absent, we do constitute a quorum to continue today's proceedings. But for the record, Rep. Sheila Babalta, Rep. Cristina Sablan, Rep. Vicente Camacho, and Senator Huso Kirgua are hereby excused from today's proceedings. Before we move on to reading and approval of the journals, in accordance with the SNILD rules, I'd like to appoint Representative Angel Demapan to act as the acting floor leader for today's proceedings. And with that, we move down to item B, reading and approval of the journal, and I recognize the acting floor leader.
Thank you, Mr. Chairman. We have one journal on agenda today, and that's now journal number 22-7 from the third day, second regular session on November 3rd, 2021. Mr. Chairman, I move for its adoption.
There's been a motion for the approval of SNILD Journal number 22-7. It has been seconded. Discussion on that motion? Ready? All in favor to adopt SNILD Journal number 22-7, please say aye. All who oppose, say nay. Motion carries. We're gonna go ahead and just move down in the agenda since we don't have much to cover. And when we get to item M is when we'll act on the 2 standing committee reports. So we are now at item C, public comments, and this is the portion of the agenda where we afford anyone in the public or in the gallery to give comments in reference to anything that appears on today's session agenda. So the podium is now open. Okay, clerk, please state for the record that there are no public comments, and we will move down to introduction of local bills. There are no local bills to be introduced. Um, Down to letter E, introduction of local resolutions, and there is none as well. Messages from the governor, clerk. There's none for messages from the governor. Messages from Mayor of Saipan and Northern Islands, there's none. Under H, reports and communications from the heads of department and agencies, there's none. House communications, clerk.
Mr. Chairman, we have one House Communication number 2225. Rep. Selena saw file and notice.
Okay, thank you. We'll go ahead and move on. Item J, Senate communications, we have none. Delegation matters. Clerk.
Mr. Chairman, we have one Delegation Matters number 2279, informing Governor Torres on the confirmation of zoning board member Ms. Edna Grace Rios Nisola.
Thank you, clerk. We move down to letter L, miscellaneous communications. Clerk.
Mr. Chairman, we have 14 miscellaneous communications number 2261 through 2274.
Okay. Any comments from any of the members on miscellaneous communications? Ready? And now we move on to letter M, reports of standing committees. And at this time, I'd like to recognize the acting floor leader.
Thank you, Mr. Chairman. We have two standing committee reports ready for adoption today on the agenda, and let the record reflect that the adoption of these reports shall also constitute the confirmation of the nominees being reported out on. First, Mr. Chairman, we have Standing Committee Report number 22-12 from the SNILD Standing Committee on Judiciary and Governmental Operations, reporting on the appointment of Mr. Shane B. Villanueva to serve as a member of the Commonwealth Zoning Board. Your committee recommends his confirmation. Mr. Chairman, I move for its adoption.
Thank you, acting floor leader. There has been a motion offered for the adoption of standing committee report number 22-12. It has been seconded. Discussion on that motion. Ready? Okay, clerk, please for the adoption, call the roll.
Representative Adda,
Yes.
Representative Actal,
Yes.
Representative Babatha Selena,
Ngan.
Representative Camacho Joel,
Yes.
Senator De Leon Guerrero,
Yes.
Representative Demapan,
Hungan.
Representative Representative Guerrero,
Ngan.
Reps- John Paul,
Ngan.
Representative Staffler,
Yes.
Representative Villa Gomez,
Yes.
Representative Yang Tamay,
Yes.
Representative Yumo.
Yes.
Mr. Chairman,
Hungan.
Mr. Chairman, all 17 members present voted yes.
Thank you, clerk. With all 17 members voting yes for the adoption of standing committee report number 22-12, this standing committee report is hereby adopted. And this now officially confirms Mr. Shane Villanueva as the new member of the Saipan Zoning Board. Congratulations, Mr. Villanueva. And please stick around for a photo once we finish the next standing committee report. And at this time, I recognize the acting floor leader for the next section.
Thank you, Mr. Chairman. And finally, we have Standing Committee Report number 22-13, SNILD Standing Committee on Judiciary and Governmental Operations, reporting on the appointment of Ms. Cecilia R. Taitano to serve as a member of the Commonwealth Zoning Board. Your committee recommends her confirmation. Mr. Chairman, I move for its adoption.
Thank you, acting floor leader. There has been a motion to adopt standing committee report number 22-13. It has been seconded. Any discussion on that motion? Ready? Clerk, please call the roll.
Representative Adda,
Yes.
Representative Actal,
Yes.
Representative Babatha Selena,
Ngan.
Representative Camacho Joel,
Yes.
Senator De Leon Guerrero,
Yes.
Representative Demapan,
Hungan.
Representative Flores,
Yes.
Representative Guerrero,
Ngan.
Representative Lizama,
Yes.
Representative Magofnia,
Yes.
Representative Probst,
Yes.
Representative Sablan Jampo,
Hungan.
Representative Staffler,
Yes.
Representative Villa Gomez,
Our.
Representative Young Tamai,
Hungan.
Representative Yumu, Representative Yumu,
Yes.
Mr. Chairman.
Hungan.
Mr. Chairman, all 17 members voted yes.
Thank you, Clerk. With all 17 members voting yes to adopt Standing Committee Report number 22-13, this Standing Committee Report is hereby adopted by this body. And now it's official that Cecilia Artaitano is now you're the newest member of the Saipan Zoning Board. So with that, we're gonna move on. We're gonna adjourn in a couple seconds. But before we move on to Anne, I'd just like to thank the SNILD Committee on JGO for their expeditious work on the Standing Committee report. So much appreciation to Senator De Leon Guerrero and the members of the JGO. We move on to letter N. There's none for reports of special and conference committees. There's none for unfinished business. We have no resolutions and bills on today's calendar. We move on to R, miscellaneous business. Any members? None? Any? Okay, miscellaneous business. Go ahead. Recognize Representative Atto.
Thank you, Mr. Chairman. Mr. Chairman, our last session, we had introduced bills to the delegation level, and we had not sent those to specific committees. Can we do that from your office and our acting floor leader's office, so we can actually start calling meetings? Because I think JGO in the House is taking up all the time, so we're trying to schedule between those meetings. Thank you, Mr. Chairman.
Okay, noted, Representative Atto, and we'll jump on that as soon as we're done. Anybody else for miscellaneous business? Moving down to announcements. Any announcements? No? Okay, so go ahead, Representative Staffler, recognized.
Thank you. I would just like to thank you very much, Chairman. I would really like to take this time to put out there that I am hosting, or my precinct is hosting, a health fair in Kagman on this Saturday, and just want to let the community know so that they can come and attend. It is from 8:30 till 12, and it is approved by the COVID task force. And it's an effort to provide the Kagman and the Precinct 5 and anybody in Saipan. So if whatever precinct you're in may come, access to learning about healthy alternatives and just finding healthy ways of life. So thank you.
Thank you, Representative Staffler. And we are live right now. So for everyone watching on the media outlets, please take advantage of this community resource event, and you're free to contact Representative Staffler's office for more details and information. So thank you. Anyone else for announcements? We ready? Okay, and for the adjournment, I recognize the acting floor leader.
Thank you, Mr. Chairman. At this time, I move for adjournment subject to your call.
There's been a motion to adjourn, has been seconded. All in favor for that motion, please say aye. All who oppose, say nay. Motion carries. Motion carries. This delegation session is hereby adjourned. So can we take a